weapon count went up to over 20, and they're still counting. And I know they have a stun gun and pepper spray from one student. They have a lot of knives.
The weapons count went up to over 20, and they're still counting. And I know they have a stun gun and pepper spray from one student. Have a lot of knives. And I know it sounds like an ED, but it's not. The weapons count went up. Let's listen to what he said here.
The weapon count went up to over. The weapon count went up to. The weapon count went up.
So when we have a D and a T, if we finish the sound D, T, so I'm going to finish the D. D. I'll finish the T. T. And I'll make a small S. S. D, T, S. They actually sound kind of similar. D, T, S. Can you hear that? They do sound similar. That's why it's so confusing. Grammatically, it has to be weapons count. That's what we say. That's the expression. And there's no question he does pronounce the S. He does. And I understand it's difficult to hear. The weapons count went up.
The weapon count went up to over 20.
Went up to. So he actually did a stop sound. Went up to over 20. Went up to over 20.
The weapon count went up to over 20. The weapon count went up to over 20. And they're still counting.
And there, so good cancellation there. And they're still counting. Good cancellation there. So we got some cancellation here. And they're still counting. And they're still counting.
The weapon count went up to over 20. And they're still counting. And I know they have a stun gun.
And I know they have a stun gun.
And I know they have a stun gun.
They have a stun gun.
And I know they have a stun gun and pepper.
And
pepper spray from one student.
Pepper spray from one student.
Pepper spray from one student. Pepper spray from one student.
So you probably don't know stun. You probably don't know pepper spray. So if these are new words to you and you missed it, don't worry. They're new words, new vocabulary. Don't worry. Have a lot of knives.
Pepper spray from one student. Have a lot of knives. Have a lot of knives. Have a lot of knives. Have a lot of knives.
Have a lot of knives. Have a lot of knives. Okay, so it's all there. It's not that bad. Again, we do have some vocabulary. Stun and pepper spray. Definitely some vocabulary. The weapons count. Oh, and you guys were really upset. Should it be, why is it plural? Should we not get rid of the S? Is it plural possessive? Or is it singular possessive? So my answer is, it could be plural possessive, but it's not. It's not singular possessive. It's simply plural. And this is a plural noun. Weapons, weapon is a noun. Weapons is plural. But we can take plural nouns and make them adjectives, and we do it a lot. Another good example would be the Olympic medal count. We almost always say medals count with an S. And I found a few more examples for you. Let me bring this over here. You can go and Google using a plural noun as an adjective. The short answer is yes, plural nouns often act as adjectives. Teachers, unions, girls, hockey, nurses, station, and there are many other examples too. So it's simply a plural noun acting as an adjective. Weapons count, not too many on the internet, but weapons cache, you'll find a lot of examples of that. So anyway, moving on. The weapons count, the number of weapons that they have found. The weapons count, the number of weapons that they have found went up to over 20, and they're still counting. Wow. So once again, in my head, if you say weapons, I'm thinking guns and knives for killing. And I know they have a stun gun. A stun gun? A stun gun, a stun gun's a weapon. Do you know what a stun gun is? I'm just typing it in Google right now. This is a stun gun. It's just it's electric shock. Okay, this is a police one, but usually they're like this. They can be like this, a tiny little handheld. This is a stun gun. Okay? This is a stun gun. All right? Would you consider that a weapon? Not really, right? I guess maybe kind of a weapon, but anyway, okay. So they have a stun gun, pepper spray. You know what pepper spray is? Pepper spray. This is pepper spray. Okay, it looks like a laser, but it's not. It's pepper spray. It fires this. It doesn't look like this. It could look like this. This is a gel. But it's a pepper spray. It fires a foam, and no, it's not spicy. But it has a really strong smell, and it makes you tear up, and it's like, oh, and you can't see. It's like, oh, it's terrible. Okay, it's a type of gas. Anytime there's a riot, the police will use it on the people who riot. So it's very common. Here's an example of a police using pepper spray on a rioter. It just burns your eyes, and then it goes away. It's fine. You'll be totally fine. Is this a weapon? Okay, hold on a second. When we talk about stun guns and pepper spray, these are things a lot of women have, not as a weapon, but to protect themselves. So are they weapons? Yes, you could kind of see them as weapons. But they're not weapons, actually, if you ask me. They're for protection. Have a lot of knives. Okay, knives are weapons, right? But I'll tell you what. Do you know what a jackknife is? When I was a kid, every day I had a jackknife in my pocket. Oh, there we go. I had a jackknife just like this, okay? And a lot of guys actually have this type of knife on their belts. They wear them on their belts. It's just a guy thing for schools. I mean, this is a Swiss Army knife, okay? I had one of these. That's kind of cool. But anyway, right now I have a buck knife. This is a buck knife, and it folds inside. And these are very common. Now, are these weapons? Yes, they are. They definitely are or could be weapons. But once again, this is something that a lot of boys have every single day. So weapons, I don't know.
The weapon count went up to over 20, and they're still counting. And I know they have a stun gun and pepper spray from one student. Have a lot of knives. The weapon count went up to over 20, and they're still counting. And I know they have a stun gun and pepper spray from one student. Have a lot of knives.